Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to discuss about async await keywords in JavaScript. As you know, JavaScript is 100% asynchronous framework and a language, and it doesn't wait for anything to finish off. So we could use like async or await keywords to make it more of a synchronous way of doing the things, or like reducing the promises and using async await. So let's try our hands dirty on and see how we could use async and await in JavaScript. So let's see how we could use async and await to make it more of a synchronous working within JavaScript. But in order to understand that, let's firstly see how typically Node.js or JavaScript works. Let's say I create a function called as, let's say, test promise, and we are going to return a new promise over here. Let's say new promise, and we'll use a resolve error. And what we are going to do is, because in order to demonstrate whether Node.js really waits for something or not, we are going to use a set timeout function so that we could just give a delay for, let's say, 2 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever. And that would help you to ensure how Node.js actually works through the calling different statements within the program. So I'm going to use a set timeout function over here. And this function is going to let's say use some kind of a console.log. Let's say we'll say we are in the set timeout function. This is what it uses, and then we'll actually resolve it. So we'll resolve that, but we are going to resolve, let's say, for example, we say it is my initials RD, and then we are also going to use another parameter of a delay. So let's say this is 3000, which is 3 seconds or 3000 milliseconds, which I'm gonna do over here. So that's how this would work back and give us like a result. It would print a console.log, and then it would resolve an RD after like 3 seconds, because it's a 3000 milliseconds. That's what we have given. Now, in order to test this, still guys, we are not using any async or await keyword, because firstly we need to understand how Node.js processes that. So what we'll do is we'll create another function called as a demo function, and within the demo function, let's say I'll create a name. First name is equal to my name, and I'll call that function. So I'll say variable result is equal to test promise. That's what I'll call. And now I'm gonna print the value of this function, the name which I created. The value of first name is okay. So I'll try to print it out, and this would give me first name. Now if we call this function demo, now what is happening is we are actually calling this function. The function then calls the test promise, which is doing some kind of a set timeout. Now what we expect is, if we run this, and let's try to see how does the result goes around. So we'll just go with this, and we'll say node test.js. So the moment I type in here, if you see, it actually printed the first name, which is Rohit. It didn't wait for the test promise to finish it off, because the test promise has a set timeout function which takes 3 seconds to actually complete that. Now working with that, it actually kind of it's an asynchronous request, so it doesn't wait for that to finish it off. So it just prints this line gets executed first, and this one actually waits for 3 seconds to get executed because there is a timeout function. Now, this is the typical way by which Node.js works because it is 100% asynchronous. But now we have a concept of async and await keywords, where rather than using this way, we could actually wait on the promise to finish it off, and then only we want to go in for the next line. So it means it is more likely to bring in, I would say, what you call the synchronous behavior rather than the asynchronous behavior. So what we'll do here is we'll change this, let's say, new promise. I'm just gonna return that, so that I'm just returning the new promise and then resolving it, but it should be after 3 seconds. And then we'll be introducing this async keyword over here as a keyword to this function. So whenever we use an async keyword, the async, only within the async functions we could use an await function. So I'll use the await keyword to wait and finish for that promise to complete, make it synchronous, and then only move on to the next line. So these are the few changes which we'll make. And now if I'll try to run this node test.js, so if you see, it didn't print the name, rather firstly it's waited for 3 seconds, that is the set timeout, to actually finish it off, and then only once that function was finished and it resolved, then only the printing of the name actually worked. So it means this line, in the initial case, it just went on printing before even waiting for the test promise function to finish it off. But in the second case, when we used async and await, we are actually awaiting for that test promise to complete, and once it is completed, we actually move on to the next line. So guys, I think now you have a better understanding of async and await keyword. Await keyword can only be used in the functions where you have a async keyword attribute, and you could make it to behave more of a synchronous way, how these things work. And then you could like wait for those certain parts of the program to finish off. Might be certain kind of an activity which has to be carried out in a serial order rather than an asynchronous way. So that's where these keywords could be used in a best way. I'll be back with more videos, guys. I hope you like this video. So stay tuned and have a good one. Thank you.